right there.
Yep. He had to
Let us-
reset.
You ready, Jesse?
Recording.
I turned the stream on. We're waiting to see if anything comes up. All right, now I see on Twitch.
Okay.
I got an email. So
All right.
we're
So
on
we're
Twitch.
we're all good.
All right, so I had to lower the bit rate. Apparently, Twitch didn't like 10K per second.
Okay. Will you lower your bit rate, you crazy beast, you? All right. And so if I was to do this, I'd go 3, 2, 1. Welcome to Nintendo Dads episode 275, recorded today, April 9th, 2020. On tonight's episode, it's quiet again. Apparently there is going to be E3, but not this year. See what I did? I teased you. Also, more information about Nintendo Lego, and is the Nintendo Dad's Levi's calendar going to happen? That's up to you. That and so much more. Jesse, cue the music.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Episode 275 of Nintendo Dads coming at you right now. This is Marty Estes. It's good to be hanging out with you once again. It's April 9th, 2020. And yes, coronavirus is still out there. And that's why there's no news. Guys, it's I don't know, like, it's a barren wasteland of news. Now, I mean, there are some stuff. There is some stuff. There are a couple of things we could talk about, but really, we feel like at this point you're probably just here because of our shining personalities, right?
I just like hanging out with you guys. That's why I'm here.
Yes, I just like hanging out with you guys. Guys, that's Justin Masson, all the way from Canada. How's it going, buddy?
You know what? It is beautiful here today. I went out. I've got my shorts on. I've got like my pink golf shirt. We did some picnic in the backyard today. Living the dream. And tomorrow
Nice.
It's supposed to snow. So that's cool. Welcome to
It sounds
Canada.
like you're living where I live,
Yeah.
where, for 2 days it was like in the 70s. Then last night it was like, hey, thunderstorm. And then today it was like, let's have a high of 55.
Why not?
But here's the thing. I've already transitioned to shorts. I don't care anymore.
There you go. Just
I've
will
made
it
the transition.
in. Will it in.
Yeah, speaking of willing it in, Jesse Waldack, how's it going, buddy?
Good. I was hoping everyone would have a mask. We can all do the
I do
opening
have
gag.
one. It
But,
just pulls on my ears.
Right. So I just still decided to keep it. But this one has mooses on it, and so my wife wanted to mention that for proper social distancing, you must remain one moose apart from everyone else.
One moose apart. Well, if you're looking in Canada, we actually just measure everyone's distance by hockey sticks now, eh?
That's what I figured you guys were doing.
It's one full hockey stick away, and then you're fine. I honestly, though, I did see the most. Obviously, my Canadianism here is sometimes a bit of a caricature and a gag. Legitimately,
Sometimes.
though, I did see the most.
Which
Canadian
sometimes has an Irish
thing,
accent in there,
right? I saw the most Canadian thing on Twitter this last week because of obviously, like if you go to a takeaway, right? They have to bring the food out to you, and the takeaway was a food truck, and it was actually a poutine truck. Right? So
that
delivering
sounds amazing.
poutine. And how did they deliver it? Your man walked up with the poutine at the end of the hockey stick and handed it in to the guy's car.
That's
off
beautiful.
of that. I was like, that is the most Canadian thing I have ever.
I mean, the only thing that could have made it more Canadian is if you tipped him in Timbits.
Right? Exactly. And he rode in on a moose drinking beer with maple syrup mooses.
There it is.
So you're complaining about your temperature differences. I think I can do better. Yesterday, it was almost 85. I woke up this morning and there was a freeze alert on my phone, and it was like 40 degrees.
And was it like freeze? And you were like,
no, it wasn't like that.
oh.
Yeah. Speaking of freeze, Tim Off, all the way from Michigan. How's it going?
Doing pretty good. I've been I know it's not on our agenda today, so I'll bring it up now, but all I've been hearing today, which is pretty cool, and it's getting me more excited because my son's getting excited about it, is Ninjala. That cartoon that in Discord that everybody was sharing. or
Yeah.
I think I shared it, or it was on Twitter. It's been blowing up. So
Yeah.
we watched that, and he's all excited. He's like, I want it now. I want it now. It's like, dude, you got to wait till end of May.
End of May, when everything else is coming out.
Tim,
Yes.
we might get early access to that.
Oh, there we go.
Shh. I know the guy.
Your uncle?
And by know the guy, I have an email to a PR guy.
Okay, cool.
And he responded.
Nice.
Oh, well, speaking of responses, we've got a bit of news to talk about tonight, including responses to E3 being canceled this year and somebody dropping the ball. And so let's dive right into the news, shall we?
Do it. I think it's great. We should do that.
I was waiting for the typical do it. Of course, our news is brought to us each and every week by you guys over at patreon.com/Nintendo Dads, where for the month of April and May, you can become a patron of the show for free. Did I hear that right?
What? That's crazy. Tell me more.
For free, baby. That means for the next about 45 days, what you can do is you can go over there to that website, patreon.com/Nintendo Dads, and tip it top on the keyboard and sign up for absolutely free. That means what's going to happen, baby, is nobody going to come in and plunder your pocketbook. We're going to give it all away, all the secrets and the behind the thing. That's right. Listen, seriously, here's the deal. You can become a patron of the show for absolutely free. You can become a Patreon producer of the show for free. For free. Why are we doing this? Because life sucks, and this nightmarish hellscape that we live in right now deserves a little bit of good, and that's what we're trying to be during this time.
People are definitely taking advantage of it too. Which is
absolutely,
awesome.
and I love it.
100%.
It's fantastic.
100%.
What I'm
Keep
hoping
it coming.
happens is people get in there and they realize the quality community that you guys that have been patrons for a long time have helped to build and lay the groundwork for.
And we've got some new Patreon subscribers this week, haven't we there?
We
Marty?
do. Do you have them?
I don't. This is my segue to you. But as you're grabbing that, I do want to say this. So
Oh my
the
gosh.
other thing that we have said to people, because people continue to ask us, hey, I still want to support Nintendo Dads. How do I do that? We're on Twitch. If you follow us on Twitch, that would be awesome. We're trying to grow that site. The other nice part is if you actually subscribe, because if you have Amazon Prime, you have Twitch Prime, which means you have like a monthly subscription you can give to any producer or content creator. Literally does not cost you anything and goes into our little pockets on the side. Although interestingly enough, Twitch takes half of it, but we get at least the other half. But what we have seen, I want to say this resoundingly, thank you. We have seen so much more support on that and so much more growth on Twitch. And so, guys, thank you so much for that. That means huge to us. I know it seems like a small thing. Another thing, like recently we cracked 4,000 on YouTube, 4,000 subscribers to YouTube. Again, we are a small YouTube content creation team, but that is so huge to us, and that helps us every single time. So whether you're able to support us on Twitch, whether you subscribe on Patreon and you're for free for a couple months, and that's fine. Whether you're following us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, subscribing, sharing, watching, man, that just helps us grow. We're so appreciative of that, and hopefully you enjoy our content. And that's
and another way that you can support us along with that, those things that Justin mentioned, is you can go over to nintendodads.org, and we have our Redbubble store over there, and you can purchase stickers, or now there's brand new in the store. I think this is the first time we've talked about this, right? Dad Crossing, stickers, notebooks, journals, all kinds of cool stuff over there. There's other stuff that's coming soon. And when you buy those things, not only do you get a really cool high quality product, like, like this, that you can't see.
put it in front of your face, Marty.
Hang on. Oh, yep, there it is. Look at there. Nintendo Dad sticker. You can get something like that over there, and we get a portion of that profit from you buying that. There you go. You can get the Nintendo Dad's Voltendo Dad's design, or the balloons over there. There's shirts. There's all kinds of crazy stuff. Phone covers, pop sockets. You can go. Anyway, you buy stuff, we get money from that.
I'm going to take a pause for a second here, Marty. I know they're like, oh my gosh, they always talk about this stuff, blah blah blah. this is gonna be a pop announcement to this panel because I haven't talked about it, but I've been thinking about it for a month now.
Uh-oh.
That Voltendo shirt, that logo, that was awesome, right? That was a community created T-shirt, right? Community created. We had it was Mike Bruce from our group, Mike Patterson. Thank you. I was like, Bruce isn't right. Patterson created, designed that. We sold it. It was the community T-shirt for 2018. We did not do one for 2019. So, ladies and gentlemen, right now, I'm officially announcing we are starting the 2020 Nintendo Dads Community T-shirt, which means it's very simple. Between now and the end of May, we are going to let you create and design your own Nintendo Dads t-shirt. You need assets from us. You need avatars from us. Let us know. We'll send you all of that. You can design, create whatever t-shirt you want, or you want to build your own drawing, complete your own drawing, make your own. You can 100% do that. What we'll then do is bring those in. We'll put it up to the community to vote, and the number one t-shirt or the number one vote gets created into being our t-shirt, gets created to being the swag, and that individual gets the Nintendo Dads product, t-shirt, swag, all that sent out to them, and that will be the 2020 community shirt. Guys, you're sitting at home right now. Maybe you don't have a job. Maybe you're like, what am I going to do with all my free time? Design a t-shirt for us. You can win this contest, and it is absolutely fantastic. So that is how.
And let's just drop this little nugget on top of there. As you're asking for those assets, understand that Tim is being added to the logo.
Yep.
Very soon.
Yes.
We have seen the designs. They're fantastic. Chose a perfect character. You'll just have to wait and see. It's great.
Yes,
so
I'm excited.
We will run the Nintendo Dads Community T-shirt contest until the end of May. Reach out to us at nintendodads@gmail.com if you need any of our assets, have any questions, and we will send you that so you can create and submit your stuff.
Yeah. And by the way, I just added the T-shirt contest 2020 channel to our Discord. So, and it's for anybody who can access it.
Boom.
So we can start collecting information.
Man making moves. Let's get into what's going on.
Yeah, well, hang on. Whoa. You had me pull up these names.
I did.
So we want to say a huge thanks to Pat, Michael, and Nathan for becoming brand new patrons of the show. You can be just like them. Head over to patreon.com/Nintendo Dads for all the fun. And when you join up, you will get an email that will tell you how to have access to our Discord server and all kinds of other goodies from there. All right, so let's dive right into the news.
I wanted to add another, just as an example of what their contribution has been paying for, even though we've been doing the next two things. This right here, Zoom that we're using, being paid for by our patrons. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, patrons. Thank you. So let's talk about this for just a minute, shall we, gentlemen? Yep. The ESA has announced two things this week. The first being that E3 2021 has dates. It will take place June 15th through June 17th, 2021, which is very close to the normal date that E3 takes place. But they also announced this week that they would not be running any kind of digital conference, which they originally promised when they canceled E3 2020.
Boo.
Your thoughts?
Boo. I would have liked to see
Jesse.
at least something organized by the people who are used to organizing this thing. Apparently, they just don't know how to do a digital organization. So, someone's going to be stepping up.
Well, there is some stepping up, but we could talk about that in a couple of moments, right? I think this is interesting. So, there's a couple things I wonder, right? Is it originally, because E3 said we're going to do digital, right? ESA said that. And then about a month later, they're like, all right, let's do the digital. And so maybe they reach out to a couple of companies. All right, guys, so we're getting everyone together for this digital event. Cool. So for you to be part of this digital event, it's going to cost you, I don't know, let's say $3,000. And maybe let's say our fictional company being Ubisoft, all right? Ubisoft. And so they say, hey, it's going to cost you about $10,000. And Ubisoft goes, I'm sorry, why? why would we pay you for a digital event? Well, sure, look at guys, it's gonna be on our mainstream. No, I don't think we're gonna do that. We're gonna just do our own channel. See how Nintendo does that? We're just gonna do that. And we don't need to pay you anything. And so the ESA is like, okay, knock, knock, knock. Bethesda, you're always hanging out with us. You're always doing stuff. You want to be part of our show? Ubisoft backed out, but you want to be part of it? 15,000? And they're like,
1,000? I mean, 100?
Yeah. No, it just keeps increasing. They're like, no, we're not going to do that. So what could have happened was that they had a plan to like create an E3 digital event, and all these companies went, no, we're going to do it on our own. We're going to do our own way, and we don't really need your architecture, your infrastructure, right? Because the thing about E3 is the reason that's great that companies contribute into it is because it's literally the physical footprint. Do you know what I mean? It's physically the building. The people are coming to them there. But now that you have the internet access, everyone has it. So it may have actually forced E3 in. And now again, I'm only speculating. I have not heard anything for sure, right? And the other part of it is that potentially now with the way the coronavirus is, stuff that maybe they were like, oh, we would push to announce in June. Well, guess what? Because of this, we're being delayed, right? We may have to push back some things. We can't do it. So we're going to have our special event. Maybe I'm Ubisoft again. Instead of having it in June when we normally would, we're actually just going to do it in August because we don't have to be E3's timeline anymore. So we're not going to contribute that way. So it may have got them actually into a spot where they can't actually support what they originally wanted to do. And so that's a possibility. Again, I have no insider information at all. I think the very interesting part of it is that they're saying, hey, no, we are coming back next year and we're going to be we're reinventing ourselves. And this was supposed to be E3's reinvention year. They were moving away from one of their primary designer production companies, IM8-bit or something like that, and they were moving to a new one anyways. So I think this is very interesting to see what happens with E3. I think the fact that, again, we've talked about this before, the fact that everyone can kind of go, boy, I think we could do our own digital.
I thought the IM8-bit was new for this year for their new thing, and they ended up failing.
I think that may have been it or something like that. But there was this kind of weird transition, right? So they're coming back next year to reinvent themselves. I think it's going to be a hard time for them to reinvent themselves. And I think if they were to do that successfully, and again, I'm not kicking down E3, but I think that it's going to be a challenge for them to come back. And I'll stop ranting.
To follow along the lines of your speculation there, Justin, I think that there's a little bit of smoke there and maybe a little bit of fire. Yeah. And what I mean by that is what if they were offering these companies the ability to come under an E3 digital umbrella to recoup some of their losses from this year.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
I mean, I could totally see that happening of like, holy crap, we just lost all this money. Oh, we'll just charge everybody $10,000 to get the name and we'll call it E3 digital. And then, but it also makes me wonder, and you've alluded to this already, that there is someone who is stepping up to do this. And surprisingly, or maybe not surprisingly, it's IGN.
Yeah.
IGN is stepping in and has already got 1, 2, 3, 4, at least 4 big developers on board, with others being announced. 2K, Square Enix, Sega, Devolver Digital, that will bring live and on-demand content to IGN or through IGN in June. Yeah. We don't know when that's actually going to happen. They're calling it the Summer of Gaming.
Yeah, and this is a little bit kind of like the Kind of Funny showcase, right? That the team over at Kind of Funny did. I think it was last year.
They've done it several years.
They've done it twice now. Essentially, I think they did the first one, which is essentially providing a platform for smaller developers, right? And smaller, because again, we think of something like E3, when you like Nintendo being there, Sega, Sony, all those folks, or Xbox, whatever. Everyone's there for them, right? But then there's these indies, these smaller developers who would really use that space to connect, right, and get in front of their audience, who may lose some of that opportunity. So content creators like Kind of Funny in the showcase that they've created is allowing for some of the smaller content creators to get on there. In some ways, it's kind of like the Impact Direct that our good friend Barry Dunn does, right? The idea of taking smaller indies, smaller studios, and giving them more of a spotlight to shine on. I'm really happy that IGN is doing this. It kind of feels like the Kind of Funny one, but stepped up a little bit higher with IGN's kind of budget production and then kind of their huge Roth of and connections. But I think it's interesting. It'll be interesting as we get into May, near the end of May. Are we going to start seeing people like pop their heads up like, hey, Ubisoft is going to do the Ubisoft Direct on June 12th? Do you know what I mean? Are those things going to occur, or do we just like?
It won't surprise me if other people will put out videos around the same time that of IGN's Summer of Gaming.
See, I was
not
just
necessarily tied to it.
See, I was thinking it's absolutely going to be tied to it,
Yeah.
because that is going to not like you look at this. I mean, the difference in this and Impact Direct and Kind of Funny Showcase is these aren't indie devs. Sega's not an indie dev.
Yep.
Square Enix is not an indie dev. I mean, Devolver Digital is probably one of the largest.
They may be
indie
publishing
devs.
indie developed. So
Well, I understand that, but I also think that any way that like you can kind of hitch your wagon to this summer is going to be a huge signal boost, because people are going to be looking for something since there's a void there in the place of E3.
Yeah.
It will not surprise me in the least if you see the big three run through IGN, considering their relationship with them.
Yeah, exactly. A great example. Again, I'm not shocked. Like Bill Trennan was on IGN a couple weeks ago and talked about Animal Crossing. Jesse, sir, I will defer to you. I see you have a point.
Yeah. So the reason why I think that they may do something around the same time as IGN's, but not necessarily tied to it, very similar to what Microsoft has done the last few years with E3. They're not on the show floor. They're next door. They're still running something alongside E3. They're just not at E3.
Yeah, but if there's no E3 to run alongside
that's the digital
just
equivalent.
Yeah, no, I get that. But then if there's nothing running alongside it, do you just be like?
But so IGN's running something, so these other companies could do digital content on their own at the same time. That's what I'm thinking.
It'll be interesting, right?
I just think it kind of like, again, this is a best of or what if, whatever. But I think it really, I'm going to use a word here people don't use much anymore. It behooves these companies to schedule these things in a way that they're not running over anyone else, right? Yeah. And bringing them all under one big umbrella helps do that. That's kind of what E3 is for. Yes, Xbox is not at E3, but they're in the grand scheme of E3 every year.
They are still schedule their main stage show around other people's stage shows.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I think IGN is going to be...
They play nice, but they're not competing. But when it comes to actually show floor space, they're not there.
Yeah, and the thing is these devs this year, especially Big Three, think of all the money they're going to save by not having to go to E3, by not having to have of not having to build New Donk City in E3, or not having to have some weird as crap PlayStation thing where they take people in the 4 different sound sets. And I mean, look, the thing is that by this time this year, people are just going to be like, just show me games. Just show me games and give me news. I don't care where it's coming from. I think this is probably the best business move that IGN has done I can remember.
Sure.
Because it's gonna, not only is it gonna signal boost these companies, it's gonna signal boost IGN, because they're gonna look like, right now they look like the guy on the white horse riding down the mountain, right?
And IGN has always had a huge footprint at stuff like E3 or at Gamescom, right? Like they understand their production and what they need to do, and they do that quite well.
They set up their own mini studio.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. So
really professional sounding when they do stuff on site.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's fantastic and it's very interesting.
So for coming speak from, I guess you guys are talking for a business side, I guess, what should do and what is going to happen in this case. And from my perspective as a fan, I think I don't care how it gets done. I just want to see happen around the same tree was happening.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
AI, it's going to ruin it for a lot of people. And I think that this is an opportunity for a lot of companies there's either going to have to be someone like IGN to lead to kind of help with the organization of, yeah, you don't have to money, but at least tell us what you're, planning. We'll help you schedule, say, okay, here's when this person's doing theirs. Here's when theirs is doing that. So I'll just end it at that since I'm glitching. So
No, I 100% agree with you.
Well, and that's what I was meaning. Like, I think by the time we get to this point in June, people are just gonna be like, just show me stuff.
Yeah.
Just, I need a distraction. I need normal. And I love that they're providing that. And we really don't have any more details about
at
it.
the end of March were saying, and we're dying for a direct, and then they finally got one.
Yeah.
But yet it wasn't the direct they wanted.
Like, I don't know who else is going to jump on this. I think it's smart of companies to jump on it right now. It'll be interesting to see how it's produced. Like, I'm really expect it to be like E3. They're going to put out a schedule and they're going to run stuff all day long. IGN's going to do their normal setup where they, go from presser to presser and do in between talk and feedback and interviews. And they're going to supplement that with live in studio demos.
What I want something to do is to change as well. Nintendo did it best when they brought it to Best Buy, but we need it on a grander scale. We need to bring it out and someone to lead it, either on these companies' consoles like Nintendo, not just show their games, but show those third-party games that are coming to my console. Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo, go to Best Buys, set up 3 different areas, have a mini E3, if you will, at each of these Best Buys across the country, so the fans have a place to go and be able to share it, or have it even easier to where the demos that you could go play on the show floor, you can download immediately.
Timed demos.
Yeah.
Like, you can play it this week and then it deletes itself.
Yeah.
And I wonder, I like that idea, Tim, right? Like the Best Buy kind of kiosks, right? And I think that's a great idea, but I kind of think of the current climate we're in. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's not going to like if things stay the way they are currently, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Right. But I've advocated for it, and I've said it before, and I absolutely love your idea, Tim, of like, let's do a demo. Right. And so may not be able to demo all the games that they're going to offer. Right. But I know a couple of years ago, I think it was our first E3 that we get it, guys. It was like, here are 10 indie games that are coming out in the next 6 months, and there are demos of them. And then if you download them and try them, I think you get like a 10% off discount or whatever it was.
Right.
Like, I love that idea. And of course, you like, whatever your main, it's Breath of the Wild 2. Yeah. No, you're probably not going to get that, but you're going to get a lot of other ones where you get the hands-on experience. And we're seeing a lot of the companies, developers put out demos now. Like, it's a very, you look at Bravely Default 2, right? That just came out. Moving out. There you go. I've been playing Vigor, right? A closed beta today, right? Great examples of like, we can get into it, get access, and eventually it all just kind of disappears. So I'd love to see that.
Yeah, that's and we see it too when the new titles that are announced are coming out. When Treehouse talks about it, but they're coming out either in the end of June or July or even August, that they have on the show floor some of those demos. If they loosen up a little bit, but I know they also are looking out for those data miners too. So that's the fortunate part of it. But who knows if there's something they could do to block that. But definitely it needs to change. And maybe this is not the year that happens, but because of how quickly things had to change, and I think that's where it goes back to E3 and why they couldn't do it. It might have been a lot bigger than they thought, and just originally, we'll make it digital and everybody just sends us their files and we'll do some sort of putting it there, and then didn't know that it's a bigger project than that. And a couple months is not enough time to plan for it. So they probably like, okay, IGN, go ahead and take it. Maybe there is a collaboration between the two to say, okay, you go ahead and do a summer of gaming while we take a break and figure this stuff out.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Well, let's move on. Let's talk about something completely different. This week, we got our first look at more information for the Lego Super Mario collaboration that Lego is doing with Nintendo. Now, whether you're on the fence about this or not, whether side of the fence you fall on, I love that they're finally not connect sets anymore. And like Lego, the granddaddy is finally getting their crack at a Nintendo property. This week, pre-orders opened up and immediately sold out. Even on the Lego site right now, they are claiming that you can't pre-order it. They'll let you know when it's going to come back. And they also released pricing details and release dates for the base set, as well as 2 expansion sets that are coming out. So let's break these down and talk about this really quick. August 1st, the base set will release. It is going to be $59.99. It's going to come with Mario, which is the electronic component inside Mario, as well as the bricks. It's going to have some bricks for you to put together a course, as well as the Bowser Jr. and Goomba enemies. So $60 for the starter set. I went on Lego's website and looked, and this falls just under 285 pieces. So it's a very skimpy set piece-wise for the price, but really, let's be honest here, you're paying for the electronic Mario in this set, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And then from there, they announced 2 expansion sets that would be available either at launch or near launch. Piranha Plant Slide expansion set will be $29.99 with Piranha Plants. You do have to have the base set to play with the expansion sets. So you're already in $60. So now that's $80. And then Bowser's Castle expansion set will be $99.99. And it comes with Bowser and I think another enemy, maybe Dry Bones or something like that. But it's pretty substantial. It's pretty huge. And all of these fit together. You can build them, rearrange them, do whatever. So if you're all in on Lego Mario, day one, if all of these are available, which I think they are, you're looking $200 after tax. That's fair, right?
Or more, depending on where you're at.
Yeah, depending on where you are. If you're
almost
Justin, it's going to be
10%
$500.
Yeah,
up in
yeah.
Canada.
That's that site or that setup in Canada is a little bit more. I was like, geez, now sure.
Joe in the chat
Yeah.
says Bowser Castle does come with a Dry Bones.
Okay, so Dry Bones. Again, these are very stylized. You guys hopefully have seen these by now.
Yeah.
I don't know, guys. Are y'all buying in at $60? Is this a number one? Are you buying in? Number two, do you think this is a good price for this, or are we getting the traditional? It's Nintendo, so it's expensive.
I'm not going to buy any of it. I don't think it's not targeted at me, which is okay, right? That's 100% fine. And I think it's just a little bit outside of my kids' kind of range for the Lego they play with, right? I've got a 9 and 11-year-old. They're not super into that. So probably not. Although like if they had just like a standalone Bowser, maybe I'd think about it just for myself. But I'm not paying $100 for a castle and that thing that I think could happen. Do I think it's expensive? Well, I don't think it is. I think there's a Nintendo tax, but I don't think it's a high Nintendo tax. We have to remember the amount of electronics and information that's actually in the thing, right? There is the screens, there is the QR readers, there's a bunch of those little bits and bobs that those things cost, right? Those things cost more.
I think it's all Bluetooth connected. So
yeah, but that still costs more than just plastic bricks,
right?
Do you know what I mean? So there is that. Now the other thing,
this is more technology than the RF chips you see on the Amiibo.
And another thing to remember here, Justin, too, is this, and I've failed to mention this. There's also the Lego tax. Because Legos are not cheap toys.
Yeah. You know, Joe Hansen actually in our group said that Legos are expensive too. For a Lego set, he thinks it's pretty standard.
Standard pricing for less pieces than normal.
Yes.
But the pieces are bigger than normal Lego too.
The pieces are bigger, and there's the electronic component. Also announced with this, which we did not know about
in terms
when
of
this was
volume
first
of plastic, is probably comparable. But
right, we didn't know about this when it was first teased either. That there is a free Lego Super Mario app that will allow you to add play value to the toys, and that will like those features will be announced later on. But it looks like that it syncs up with Lego Super Mario.
I wonder if that's how like you
The-
set the timer.
Probably.
The other part I'd say as well is that if you pre-order, I think like the base starter set, you also get a Monty Mole Super Mushroom set for $14.99, but it's free with the pre-order. So you're kind of getting a little bit of extra value in there as well. And
Well, that's
Joe,
if all the scalpers don't buy up the pre-orders.
yeah, exactly. Joe Hansen, thanks for bringing that to our attention as well. I
Too
remember
late.
I'd seen earlier in that.
I really believe they'll have more of at least the base set available. I can't see them doing like going all in on this like they are and it not being available. Probably way more of the base set than anything else is what we'll see.
Yeah.
What about you guys, Jesse, Tim? Is this on your radar? What do you think about it?
If I had younger
price-wise?
kids who were into Lego, maybe. But my kids were into Lego. But especially not that they're 18 and 20.
Yeah,
By the
my
time this
kids.
comes out, they'll be 21. She'll be drinking.
My kids are into build it and leave it. So, I mean,
Oh, good.
my youngest would probably, and even my 15, that might not be for long. So it would be just build, play with it first time, and then it'll sit on a shelf.
Yeah, it makes me wonder, like the Labo effect, right? Labo's really cool when you build it, and it's cool like the first couple of times you play with it. But then what happens when the new wears off?
Yeah.
So it's, like what happens when Lego Mario has been sitting on the dinner table for 5 days and mom is just like, oh my gosh, I need to serve dinner without Lego Mario being in my way. What do you do?
I mean, the argument can be made about the amiibo as well, right? Kind of
Sure,
same
yeah.
premise, right? Not as expensive, but yeah.
This may have been a great way to use amiibo in with this, but I think stuff like this and the fact that we've had only Smash Amiibo announced up to a point this year, Amiibo's dead, y'all. Like
Yeah.
Animal Crossing was the chance that Amiibo had to come back, and it's not there. So I don't know. Anyway, so there it is, August 1st. Lego Super Mario will be out. Hit us up on Twitter or in the comments of the video here. Tell us whether you're buying this or not. Are your kids excited? My son really wants this. But again, he just turned 13 today. And then he has some developmental delays. So he still likes to play with toys and stuff, but I don't know that we're going to buy this for him because what's going to happen is it's going to be like Labo. It's going to sit in a box in our closet after a while. It's a great idea. I probably will buy the base set for myself just because I want the Mario and I want to play with it. But I definitely am not spending $100 for Bowser's Castle. Now, if Nintendo wants to send us a Bowser's Castle or any of this stuff, I will gladly accept and play with it and make videos. And sure, I'll do it all. But yeah, so there you go. Also in the news this week, in television, Amico, we talked about this a couple weeks ago, and some people had very strong opinions about what Jesse had to say about Amico being a competitor with Nintendo and other things. Really, people are just sablanc. John, you know what you said and you know what you did. Jesse's feelings were hurt. It's okay. Look at him. He's smiling. He's okay.
Jesse doesn't have feelings. He's not a real person.
But we do want to announce this. The VIP model pre-order results resulted in over 10,000 additional pre-orders in less than a week on top of the 2,600 that they had from the Founders Edition. Retailers also, for some reason, have ordered 100,000 of these And they,
And he's had to put a freeze on retail pre-orders
yeah, that's
just
what.
because he's not sure if he can meet that demand by October.
Yeah, so no more retailer pre-orders. But can you still pre-order this individually over on their website?
That I don't know. I heard at one point that the Friday or tomorrow was going to be the cutoff for this round of pre-orders. I don't know if that meant last Friday or this Friday, but and this 10,000 figure was like Monday when it was reported, or this weekend. So it's been probably much more than that by now.
Yeah.
But people were originally saying that you're probably not going to get more than 5,000 orders, and he's already got at least 13,000.
Well, it is an ambitious project for sure. Time will tell if it pays off. Unlike the Atari VCS, which is still vaporware.
Yeah, I'm worried about that one.
There you go.
I'm liking the Amico. I think it has potential there. So I'm hoping that it has family potential, I think.
Yeah, oh, definitely. I think it definitely has family and young kid potential with that. Speaking of something we're also afraid of, let's talk about those Nintendo vouchers.
Do it.
So, guys, I want to throw around something that Jesse has been talking about a lot lately, and Tim has too. If you remember last year, Nintendo offered vouchers that you could buy through the eShop. They were announced and available in mid-May, and they sold in North America until the end of June. Games that were released before.
They were sold available until the end of July.
Oh, until the end of July. Okay.
Yeah, if I have June in the notes, then that's my bad.
Sorry about that. So games that were released before May 2019 could be purchased with that. To date, there's been 26 in total, with the most recent being March 29th, Yoshi's Crafted World, and then games released between June and December 2019, starting with Mario Maker 2 and ending with Pokemon Sword and Shield, 11 games in total. So far in 2020, there have been 4 games that you could use vouchers on, which are Tokyo Mirage Sessions, FE Sharp, Encore, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, Animal Crossing, and Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. Now, here's the problem with this. Number one, some people still have vouchers. Number two, said vouchers are set to expire very soon. And 3, we don't know anything Nintendo is releasing past May 29th. And up until then, it's even a bit thin. So the question is, seeing the time, seeing what's going on, lots of stuff behind the scenes, should Nintendo extend the expiration date of these vouchers? And if so, why?
That was my initial argument when thinking, when I saw what the schedule was for the last half of 2019, we get 11 games between June and the end of the year. Assuming that rate of release would continue into the next year, that's why I ponied up for a third set. So I bought about 6 vouchers in total, and I know I've used 3 of them. The eShop says I only have 2 left, so I'm not sure what happened to the 4th one. But so right at this point, there's nothing that I plan on getting, because we don't know what's coming out in June or July. If we did, then sure I can make a decision. But at this point, we don't know anything, and I'm starting to worry.
Yeah, I think with the coronavirus, a lot of things have been, pushed because of that on their side of things. So I think the least they could do for the customer is to also extend that voucher a month or two to help especially if they had games that were supposed to be coming out but were delayed because of coronavirus, to give a chance for those customers to do it. And also, too, the other thing I was going to say to Jesse was, I don't know if you've tried this yet, but you can view your purchase history on the Nintendo site.
Yeah, that's
And
well, I track my information, and
okay,
everything I've looked for that I know was like a review code, or it's the three that I know I redeemed a voucher for. So I still don't know what that fourth one was.
gotcha. Okay. And in case anybody else wants to know that, that URL I can post in our Discord,
Yeah.
and share there. But it's just ec.nintendo.com/my/pound/transactions. That's how you can get that information to find out what you purchased.
Yeah, I
So-
think at this point it's a good PR move, and it's just a good faith action for Nintendo to push this back, right, and allow people a little bit more time, especially since we have no clue what's coming down the line.
Yeah, definitely.
But it also kind of feels like to me that Nintendo at this point might say, "Well, you guys knew."
That's a little bit of the argument that I kind of want to make here. Do you know what I mean? Which is, you made a decision to purchase vouchers for games that may or may not come out in 365 days that had an expiration point on it. Right? Now you didn't know what was coming up. There were some things you did know, but there were things you didn't know. And so it was kind of like you risked it for the biscuit.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
North America region kind of is the only one that has this impact because it had the July deadline. You couldn't.
Did no one else have an expiration date?
No. In Europe, you can still buy them. In Japan, you can still buy them.
Okay.
If we could still buy them today, I wouldn't have bought them in advance and waited until I knew I had 2 games.
Right. So
but because of the deadline and with the expectation of more games coming out, that's why I bought the 3rd set.
Here's my double-edged sword. I do believe it shouldn't have an expiration date.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that should just be removed.
Okay.
Right.
What I mean by expiration date is they still expire a year after you buy them, but you can still buy them.
Which means you're just kind of pushing forward, right?
Right.
I believe they shouldn't have an expiration date. But I also believe, like, if you bought like 6 or 8 of them, it was like, oh well, Nintendo's had a banger of a year, I'm going to use them. There's no guarantees. You don't really know what Nintendo's going to do, so you may have been holding it or may not have been using it. And just because they didn't come out with games in the last 3 months that you're super into, that you were going to purchase, and you're left with holding a voucher in your hand that's going to expire, not to be rude, that's kind of the thing that you did. And I get why you did it, because you got a deal. And so, just so you're all like, hey, pot calling the kettle black, I bought vouchers, but I knew exactly the 2 games I was going to use. Do you know what I mean? Like, I knew there was for sure.
But you're speaking from the business sense, and that makes sense. Obviously,
100%.
It makes sense. But again, as a customer point of view, I am a customer. I'm not trying to go with the customer is always right, but I am the customer, and the customer experience is that with what I wanted to do here, it's not the same like Jesse put out in there saying in Japan and Europe, they can buy vouchers whenever. They still expire, but we had a deadline to buy what we wanted and kind of prepare. You're making total sense, but still, I'm a customer who bought 6 vouchers. I expect to be able to use those vouchers based on Nintendo's history of what they brought out before. And with everything getting delayed, it only makes sense to me as a customer to say, Nintendo, you may have had something we don't know come out, but now I have no chance to use my vouchers for those things that would have come out. So
I
extend.
Let's go, son. Let's debate this. Let's go. Because here's the thing that I would say to you is, what's been delayed?
We don't know that.
That's exactly it. You don't know. You assume there was a delay. Do you know what I mean? But
I assume there's a delay because why? Nintendo only has one game out, one major game out, and that was Animal Crossing.
Right.
Where's the other stuff?
I don't know. But there was
internally things were delayed. They just haven't told us.
Here's the thing. And Tim, so I am literally playing devil's advocate. I don't
know
think
you
that
are.
you're wrong in what you're saying. So if you're
I
like,
don't think
hate
you are
so,
either.
if
I
you're saying
understand
like,
from
I
the
hate you
business
so much,
perspective.
but here's my argument: if Nintendo had said between now and or July 1st, 2019, and July 31st, 2020, here are all the games that we're putting out, and was like very clear, and you were like, I want that, I want that, I want that, and I want that, then you would have been like, boom, 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 totally makes sense, right? Totally 100% makes sense. You do that. But the challenge is they only showed that you only knew like, well, actually, even at that point, there were things that we didn't know. Do you know what I mean? So you kind of like, okay, well, I'm going to get 2 tickets or 4 tickets or whatever that is. And then like fingers crossed, Metroid shows up, or fingers crossed, the game I've been wanting for shows up and doesn't show up. Right. And then you're kind of like stuck into your point. Like you're now getting to a point you're like, I don't even know what I would use it for. Now, here's what I do agree with, Tim, is I 100% agree they should not have an expiration date. I believe what they should have said is like, if you want to purchase them, like it's a special Nintendo Online promotion. We're going to do it from middle of June to end of July. Purchase as many as you want. There's no expiration, except there has to eventually be an expiration, right? Probably like, put it in some crazy like 2099 or whatever it is, like something that totally doesn't make sense. But you can use them at any point. I think that's what they should have done. They should completely remove the expiration date, and then to your point, then you're fine, right? If
Well,
there's
why
a
not
delay,
just take them, and if they want to put expiration date and say the customer doesn't use it, it's already tied to their ID. It's already tied to everything that you've created
Nintendo's
there.
already got the money, whether they're used or not.
Transfer that $50 from the voucher for your program. If it's not used by that time, then the $50 ends up in your eShop account.
Yeah.
I would be okay with that. I doubt they would ever do that.
How many vouchers do you have, Jesse, laying around?
I think I should have 3. eShop tells me I have 2. So I bought Mario Maker 2, Link's Awakening, Dragon Quest 11 with a voucher. The 4th one I'm not sure about, because Builders 2 we got a review code. Tokyo Mirage Sessions I got a review code. Those are like the bigger games that I've bought. Because the problem is looking at the website that Tim said, there's no distinction between redeemed by a voucher or redeemed by a code. They look the same.
Yeah, you'd have to go by memory. But that's the other thing too that sucks for us, Jesse, that we get codes. So something we probably would have used the voucher for, we ended up not having to use the voucher for. So one of the examples for mine, I bought 4 vouchers. One of them I was going to use them for was Free Houses. Yeah, but we got the review code from the UK, so I didn't have to use it for that. But look, I in turn was able to use it for Pokemon, which I wasn't originally intending to get with the voucher. So I used up my last voucher.
Maybe
with
Pokemon is the 4th one, because I don't. And I forgot that I used it for Dragon Quest. Yeah. So all right, there's the 4th one.
Okay.
I here's the thing: is I do like the voucher idea, because the vouchers were exclusive to Nintendo Online members, right? It'd be Nintendo.
Yes.
I like that program. I like the idea of it, and I understand like why it'd be like. And I don't think there's anything wrong with hey, you need to buy. We're going to offer this to you, and it's a limited offer. So for like the next 6 weeks, the 8 weeks, and you purchase how many vouchers you want. I have no problem with that, and I have no problem that it's a Nintendo Switch Online exclusive, right? Whatever you want to call it, right? But the challenge I do agree with, and this is from both a business perspective and from a just customer perspective, is there shouldn't be an expiration date, right? It should look at you bought them, you're just waiting to redeem them when you're ready to redeem them. So
yeah, that's an easy way to solve this, right? Go back to everybody who's bought a voucher and just remove the expiration date, just like they have for everywhere else in the world. And then, they've already got the money. Just let it sit there.
Yeah.
Tim, how many vouchers are you sitting on?
I had 4. I'm done. I got the last one I used was for this last game that came out. Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, Chris in the chat says the vouchers seem like Nintendo's trying to take your money ahead of time, but why would you buy the voucher not knowing if you were getting games you actually wanted? Well, mainly because if you use them for $60 games, you ultimately get $20 off overall.
Yeah, for you,
I agree. It is a gamble. You might get You might be stuck with $50 games and not make any bargain, but at least you're not paying more.
It's like selling turnips in Animal Crossing. I
It
bought for
kinda
I bought
is.
for 110 and I'm selling for 60.
And hey, guys, on
well,
a side note
you
too.
got
I didn't do that.
ripped.
I got a better deal. Tim, what's up?
On a side note, when I was looking at your Nintendo account, digging in where you can put in your credit card information, this purchase transactions history, I'd never noticed this before, but you can actually review your wish list there as well. Like everything you picked, you can actually go through and you can click on them and see more details on the things you put on your wish list, or you can actually delete them off your wish list from that one list. So I've never seen that before there. So I thought that was pretty cool place to go online in your Chrome.
Chris asks again, were you saving money buying games with vouchers? And yes, because 2 vouchers is $100. If I buy two $60 games, you save $20.
Yeah. So essentially, in like Jesse's case, he bought 6 games and actually got like a 7th one for free because he got 6 vouchers. So
right.
Yeah.
And Mecca says, I don't think they expected people to buy more than 2. If that was true, they should have just limited it to 2. They had, I think the limit was 8. You can hold 8 on your account. So they wanted people to buy them. Yeah. And it was asked, they're not transferable? Correct, they are not.
Yeah. If not, I would have been happy to try and get one from you. Get transferred to me, and I'd pay you.
Oh yeah, and I gift
kids or whatever, right?
I bought Animal Crossing for my daughter. If I could transfer them, I would have given her a voucher.
Yeah, would have been great, eh? Speaking of the eShop and some awesome things, there's an incredible eShop sale going on right now, both in North America and the EU. They're doing like the spring sale. It probably showed up on your Switch as well. Very rarely does Nintendo actually do discounts on their first-party games. And they do have some discounts in there, I believe, including I think Breath of the Wild is 30% off. I believe Astral Chain is. I have to check the eShop. Maybe somebody could quote me on that right now.
I'll check.
Do a quick check on that. But I know because I was thinking that, Tim, when you were like the wish lists, I use the wish list for games that I'm interested in, but I'm like, I don't want to pick that up right now, but I'm putting it on my wish list, and then when it comes up for sale, I usually get an email notification that's on sale.
The website still says 60, so that might be a EU only
sale.
Maybe the EU.
The history also shows if it's on sale, so which I thought was pretty cool. It does show it slashed off, and the sale price if it's in the sale. Which I noticed a lot were on there that I have not received an email for saying that these games are on sale. So I don't know if they highlight certain ones.
I've got 2 on my wish list. Okay, so I am on the Nintendo. I'm on the EU site right now. And so like Breath of the Wild is 30% off. Astral Chain is 30% off. The Witcher is 30% off. Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle is 75% off. 75%.
That is an absolute steal at that.
It's here too on sale.
Yep. What else am I seeing here? Crash Bandicoot Trilogy, Spyro, Rain Man, Harry Potter Lego Collection, Hellblade, the Assassin's Creed, the Rebel Collection. So some big sales. Check out your local eShop. If you haven't checked out your local eShop, maybe check out some of the international ones. Of course, you'll have to figure out currencies in that area and how you do that. But I still have an Irish bank account, so it still works for my EU account. So I can buy games that way if I need to. What else was I going to say? There's something I had there. I forgot.
Look, it's in the US side. I see Sega Spring Sale. So
the Sega sale is great right now.
Yeah, just pretty much every Atlas game is on sale. So
the Sega collection, the Sega Genesis collection is at a great discount right now.
Yeah. There's WB Games Spring Sale, Ubisoft Ecstatic Sale.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody wants you to buy games right now because
you got nothing to do.
They need money.
What else are you going to do?
Yeah.
At a game you reviewed, Justin, Sparklight is got a sale.
It's a good game. It's a great game, actually.
Awesome.
I really enjoyed that one. They've done some good patches on that too, actually, by the way. That's really helped it out.
Well, guys, why don't we move into our events section and have Tim talk to us about something coming up very, very soon.
Do it, Tim.
Sweet. I'm excited to share this, that upcoming got the upcoming dinner table reservations have been set for April 17th at 11 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. I have several guests, especially those who have taken advantage of being on Patreon for the first time, RSVP'd for their seats. But there's still room, even if we have a bunch of people in there. I want to try that out. I want to see what it's going to be like. The most we've had on there, I think, was 6, the first or second show, and
We're paying for
I want to
Zoom.
be
We
able to
want to
try
make
that out.
Zoom struggle.
Yes, I want to try it out. So don't be afraid if you're afraid of having more than 4 seats in there. I don't want to be afraid. I want to try it out because I want it to be like the Google Meet of your, back when we used to do those for Nintendo Dads. I want all of the Nintendo Dads peeps to come in and share what we talk about, and I'll adjust the topics as needed for that to get everybody to be able to talk about what they want to talk about. But hopefully, when everybody's on board, we'll be talking about this main dish, which I'll share with everybody in Discord on the that channel, the dinner table channel, so that they could prepare whoever's going to join. But the main dish I want to talk about on the show on the 17th is, what would the perfect gaming store look like to you? So I know a lot of people have been talking about GameStop. They're the bad guy right now in a lot of cases, especially on some choices they've made during this time for us. But that made me wonder, what would be the perfect game store? What would have to be done in order for either GameStop to become the perfect game store? What is Reggie and the new board and the new CEO, or when they elect that person, what do they have to do to get GameStop to get your business again? Or is it time for someone to step in and make this perfect gaming store? That's what we'll talk about. And then we've also got a topic courtesy of R. Kern, which will be part of our dessert. R. Kern's on our Twitter. He'll be joining us also, but his topic was, what's your favorite Mode 7 moments in Super Nintendo? So that's something we'll be talking about there. And speaking of that, since it's Mode 7 and the SNES, we're actually going to bring back Retro Rewind, which I know a lot of people have been looking for. But instead of being its own show, it will be part of Dinner Table because it's once a month. It'll be part of the dessert portion of the dinner table. And we'll talk about what game we've been playing, which in this case, we're going to pick up where we left off a couple of years ago, which was Super Castlevania for the Super Nintendo. And I know there's a Mode 7 thing in there that a lot of people have talked about.
Which
That
is
was probably
absolutely
gonna be
my favorite Mode 7
That would be
moment.
my answer, I think.
And those games are available on the Nintendo Switch.
You can get it on the Switch
right?
in the collection, in the Castlevania collection, or you can play it on the Classic, the Super Nintendo Classic.
Can you get it on the online, the Switch online?
Castlevania is
Classic?
not on the online.
Oh, it's not on
No.
there. Okay.
You have to
Yeah,
buy
I
the
looked.
Castlevania collection.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and what we do with Retro Rewind is we announce it, and it'll be announced more. We'll talk about it more there at that show. But next month in May, we'll talk about what everybody's been playing. The community will be playing it with us, and we'll talk about it in the May's dinner table.
So you've got that going on there. Plus, we actually have the the monthly mayhem as well with
Yes.
the lads over there. So there's lots of ways you can plug into this community and find what games you want to be playing or what don't want to be playing, and how you want to engage on that content as well.
Yeah. Well, guys, let's talk about what we've been playing.
Do it. Actually, sorry. Go ahead.
What?
Just go ahead. Yeah, play the music. I'll come back to it. One of the questions that came up in our Discord, I apologize, our Twitch chat here. Have you guys heard about this whole situation with the Cooking Mama game?
Oh, yeah.
I've been
Right.
trying to follow along, and I'm confused.
Yeah. So, for those people who are listening that don't know what we're talking about, Cooking Mama Cookstar was scheduled to come out for Nintendo Switch the same day as Animal Crossing, which was March 20th. The game arrived. It was physical only. It was actually offered digitally for a few hours, and then it was pulled completely off online stores. And now it looks like it is very hard to find physically. Basically, what people discovered when they got the game was that it was mining Bitcoin for
Well-
the developers.
I don't think it was actually doing. I don't think it was actually doing that. I think that ended up being debunked in the end.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was what they thought was occurring.
The
But it sounds-
speculation was that it was mining Bitcoin
Well,
for the
'cause
developer.
What I heard is someone involved in the company who doesn't really know technology much, but is part of marketing, heard all these fancy terms and threw it in there to make them sound smart.
Yeah, bitchain or blockchain.
Like blockchain. And why would blockchain be in this game? It makes no sense. And
Right.
It's really not.
But it still doesn't negate the
But-
fact that this game is extremely hard to find right now.
right. I didn't explain why it's pulled. I don't know if that's ever been
Mhm.
figured out.
It's so the reasoning that it's been pulled from what we're understanding, and so I did some quick kind of looking into it, and I do want to take a quick pause here. The most recent, I'm directing you somewhere else. I probably shouldn't, but I'm going to anyways. The most recent episode of NBC, the one they recorded, I think actually yesterday or today, goes into this like for the
Okay.
first 25 minutes. They break
I
down the
haven't heard
entire
their,
thing.
I haven't heard their show yet.
I listened to it while sitting in line at a drive-through today. But nonetheless, essentially, it sounds like the reason it was pulled was actually there was a disagreement between the publisher and the developer in relation to the IP and the quality of the game. Sounds like the reasoning.
I
Now
did
that,
hear this
and then it's caught in this idea of this, oh, there's a blockchain, it's overheating my systems, and it got pulled, and then it got put back, and there's physical copies. So it sounds like just a complete
One
fiasco
party
of a
wanted more
mess.
time to polish it up. The other party says, no, do this
Yeah.
now. And
Yeah, so it sounds like it's a bit of a fiasco mess. But if you want, like seriously, listen to NBC. They spent about 20 minutes talking about it, and if this sounds like it is ripe for a Netflix special documentary, because it sounds like a hot mess. IGN has some documents on their website as well. I know it's kind of been it's slow news week, folks. It's been a very interesting thing to kind of watch from afar. But do
Cooking
check
Mama
it out.
Kings,
Yeah, exactly.
the next Netflix documentary.
Yeah, Mecha King here says, from what I hear, it's a huge lawsuit going on with the game. Apparently, it's correct. It's also overheating because of the Unreal Engine. So I don't know how true that is either. Like, I think that's
How hard is it to make a Cooking Mama game?
I find.
Have you played a Cooking Mama game?
I don't know. I find it funny that this is the game that's like wrecking the internet is Cooking Mama.
There is
You know what I mean?
There's currently an auction on eBay for this game. A sealed copy of it is going for $40,000.
Yeah.
Is that an asking
Which
price?
is
That's
ridiculous.
or does it actually have bids?
I don't think it has bids.
Okay, 'cause that's two different things.
That's one of those shoot for the stars and hope it happens thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So obviously none of us are playing Cooking Mama, but Justin, what are you playing?
Animal Crossing. I continue to play that, and it continues to suck me into its little world. I'm loving it. I'm having a lot of fun. For those of you that are curious as to, because I've been gone for a bit, how far into it am I? As a and I don't know if I don't know if you put down quotations of like spoiler alert regarding Animal Crossing, but the rec center, the tent, has now been built in the town hall. So I feel good about my life.
But from what I've heard so far, I think anything that happens before credit roll, I'd say is spoiler
So
alert.
that's
anything
kind of
after credit roll. Hold on to that.
Yeah, so that's where I am currently. I'm having more people join my island. That's exciting. I very much hate Egg Day, or whatever the heck they're calling it. This thing. I want that to go away as soon as possible
Bunny Day.
because it is just the worst thing ever. But
You've got
I'm
3
enjoying
days
it.
left.
If you visit my island, our flag is the picture of me shirtless, doing that kind of like pose. So thank you very much to the guys who put that together. I appreciate that. So I could keep talking about Animal Crossing, but I won't. The other game I'm playing is Vigor, Vigor, and this is a closed beta for the Nintendo Switch. This game is already on the Xbox. It is a free-to-play game, and this is described as a shoot and loot game where you build the shelter in post-war Norway. And it is it's got like a battle pass element to it, and there's leveling up, and it's super kind of intense. And there is kind of like just like Fortnite, you know, the purple fog comes in or the storm comes in. There's a radiation wave that comes in, and you have to you basically strategically either have to decide to get loot on the island, and that loot comes back to your shelter and helps you build your resource and build better outfits and better weapons and gear and what you need. Or it's kind of like, I'm going to play aggressive and I'm going to try and kill other people on the island, and if I kill someone, I can steal their loot as well. So that kind of makes you think, like, when you go back to the island to do this thing, whatever gear you bring in, like I've made a sweet gun, I've loaded up. If I die, they will loot it and they will take that from me. So that gear is gone. So you have to kind of start from scratch again. The other really interesting part about it is that when you're going into the actual world, you have kind of three categories. You have currency. They call it crown, and you can use the crown. You can buy like actual like in-game skins and upgrades and that kind of stuff, or you can actually use it before you enter a match. And essentially it says, I want better loot and I want better crate drops. And essentially you can actually like pitch your money towards that and it will increase. And then the other part is you can buy insurance. Right. And so what you essentially do is that if I have gone out and I've looted a bunch of stuff and I have my gear bag is kind of all the way full, but before I get back to either the tent or before I leave the game, I get killed, I get to save, I get to keep all that loot. But if I don't have insurance and I get killed, all that loot's gone. So it's kind of this interesting risk and reward. And there's different elements of, you know, do you play a game where you are trying to be very sneaky, very quiet? You're just trying to get gear and then leave to build your stuff and to come back later? Or do you play an aggressive, like, I'm going to get the loot drops. I'm going to really play aggressively, going to try and kill people, try and loot them. And there's only about 8 to 12 players per round. Rounds last about 10 minutes, give or take. It's survival. It's at the edge. Like a lot of the time, like it's great. Plug a little bit here. It's great for a game where you have like good headphones, like the Steel Series ones, because you hear everything. But then like you're running. So for example, there's this time when you're running to go get, you're running away, you're trying to get to the location, but like your person has stamina and then they're tired, right? But then like you hear them, they're like, but they're breathing so loud that you can't hear someone else come up. Do you know what I mean? So there's some really good sound engineering and sound work that's done to make you try and figure out where people are. It's really cool so far. Again, it is a free to play shoot and loot game. It's coming to the Nintendo Switch later this year. They don't have an official date for it that they've said publicly, but it is currently in a closed beta for 1 week. And we will have a Let's Play up on our YouTube channel tomorrow, where you can watch me play it for about 45 minutes. So yeah, it was kind of interesting, actually.
Awesome. Tim, what about you? What you been playing?
I've been all over the board since I've been home with, especially with my kids and my son, who's needed somebody to play with, essentially. So, but starting off with when I've been on my own, I have played more of that Dead or School. It's the story of that game's been growing on me, so I'm going to be playing. I kind of put that on hold for the moment though, because I want to get into that a little bit more after I finish the Shin Sakai game, Into the Depth. I've been playing more of that, about more than 4 hours of that one, and just that story and the visuals in that game are just blowing my mind. And I highly recommend that game, especially if you're a Metroidvania fan or Castle Royals fan, if you will. But after that, those are games I play by myself. But it's been a lot of playing games with the family and my 12-year-old son, or soon to be 12-year-old son. We've been playing Minecraft, having a lot of fun with that, and seeing my daughter just blowing my mind with that, what she's been building in that. She's been watching a lot of videos of people building things fancy in there, and she'll come and show it off and like, here, look what I built. And she's got these massive like glass domes or whatever that she built with biodome inside of it and all that fun stuff. So it's really fun to watch her building that. My son and I have been playing a lot of Fortnite, but more in creative mode, because we can go in there and just kind of have fun on our own without worrying about surviving, if you will. We've been playing more of the games that people build in there. And today I probably played the most frustrating game that somebody built in there, which was survive 100 levels, kind of like platforming levels with the Fortnite characters.
Oh wow.
And
What can go
That
wrong?
doesn't sound fun at all.
there was some fun moments, and then there was other frustrating moments because of just having the time, the platforming with the jumps and the slides and all the things you can build in Fortnite.
It's like
So
do 100 levels of Mario Sunshine without flood.
right, but we did it. We got through it, and the kid was as happy as could be that we got through it. And he was like, "Let's go do something else." And I was like, "I'm done after doing 100 levels of Fortnite. Creative. I'm done. I'm ready to move on to a little something more relaxing," which we did, and that's been Animal Crossing, just like everybody else. And I'm holding up my Switch because I wanted to look at how many hours it says I've been playing, and that game came out the
20th.
within the last couple. Yeah, the
20.
20th.
So yeah, it'll show the hours.
So I know I'm not the guru playing, every day for 12 hours a day, but when he started out, or even like our own Dad Crossing podcast. But for me, I've been playing since the game came out 30 hours, or it says 30 hours or more because of my family, especially with them getting it this week. We've been going in each other's islands, helping each other out because I had it
Well,
for.
if they're logging in under their own accounts, it wouldn't count toward your time.
No, I know. No,
Okay.
but it's counting. It's counting for me because I'm playing with them and they're coming to my
Okay,
island,
right.
or I'm going to their island.
All right.
Yeah, they have their
That-
own
that
switches
makes
and their own
sense.
islands. So we've been having a lot of fun with that. One caveat that I've noticed that has been frustrating is that if you lose connection for whatever reason between someone visiting your island, any progress that you made, and this happened to me today, where I was building things to put on 3 properties I was preparing for new people to come in. I had crafted and built the furniture and all that stuff that I needed for those properties. And then my son got disconnected and got booted out. And because of that, Animal Crossing just rebooted, if you will, back to a state where it last saved, I guess. So all that progress where I was building and crafting all this stuff, I lost all that and it was just tedious work where I had to go back and redo all that work. I didn't lose anything as far as I know, but it was just more of having to go back, pick up all the wood that I chopped and all the other things that I was mining to get to craft, and then go back to the tent and recraft all that stuff, and then go back to those plots to put the stuff I built in. That was interesting. So that was the only frustration I had with this game, but the rest of it was, obviously Animal Crossing is awesome. So
I have understood now the addiction with this game.
yeah.
Like I understand why people put in 100 and 200, 300 hours. I get it. And there's something just so soothing. I am so happy that I bought this digitally.
Yes, same here.
Because I'd be popping that cart and it's it's funny, like I look on my home screen and it's like Fortnite, Animal Crossing, Vigor. Do you know what I mean? Like it's like such a contrary. like after Vigor, I was like, I feel like I need to go chop some trees and I need to go fishing and I need to go talk to Mabel about maybe making me a suit. Like just kind of like super chill. My kids are loving it as well. Like, yeah, to your point, Tim, like it's such a, like they are saying to me, they're like, can we do party mode together and can we go resourcing together? Oh, Dad, you got that. How do we get that? Like they're really engaged in that idea of like building the town together. Now I've got more, I'm a little bit further ahead in some of those things. So I'm like, oh yeah, I built this bridge. And they're like, oh yeah, let's do this now. And oh, do you got a ladder? Can I have a ladder from you? And I was like, oh yeah, sure. Here you go.
Yeah, you're the guide, right? You've been helping because you had a
Yeah.
little bit more experience with it. That's same here because I've had it for a couple weeks longer than they did, and they've been coming to me for questions, especially my youngest, and I've mentioned this before. He's got ADHD, and I've noticed that it would help him if he had the guide, but that guide is delayed, unfortunately, and can't buy the guide. So just to help him along with, seeing what the progressions he needs to do. Because he's the type of kid who's just like, I want to keep going. I want to keep going. So he's passing all the context or all the text that we keep telling him he has to read.
Yep.
Then we keep telling him, no, you have to do X, Y, and Z. You have to talk to Nook or do
My
this.
son had the
Yeah.
same problem when he was a kid, but it wasn't. It was partly, he had minor ADHD as well, but the other part is he just didn't want to read. It was
Right.
I remember, and so it prevented him from playing many games, which
Yes.
is why like Persona 5 is the first RPG he finished outside of a Pokemon game at 18.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. That's what I've been
Jesse,
playing.
what you been playing?
Yeah, yeah. A few days ago, I decided I've been working on my arcade machine. I got OBS running, got some this framework in place, and I decided to I played about an hour or so of miscellaneous arcade games and put it and streamed it on my personal channel. There was some. I had fun. I probably had one of the best Mr. Do runs I've ever had. There was some glitches. I don't know if that was because it was of OBS running at the same time and playing a game, or I think I might have been connected with a remote desktop at the same time, and that added CPU. So I might give it another try again to see how it goes. But it was just fun being able to. I want to get like a webcam set up to actually webcam my face and put it in the OBS as well. So I'm still kind of playing with that. So in addition to this, so last week I talked about Dragon Quest II. I finished it, rolled credits, and then started Dragon Quest III. And so I've got maybe 6 or 7 hours into it so far, and haven't needed to use a walkthrough at all. But I remember when I tried playing the game on the Game Boy Color like 10 years ago, I was needed a walkthrough really early, and I got confused. So I logged into my Game Boy Color game to see where I was, and was at the same place that I was at in the Switch playthrough, where I didn't need a walkthrough. And so I'm like, okay, I've already gotten past. This is the last Dragon Quest game that I've played and I've never finished. So wanting to finish that one. That which would then leave the only Dragon Quest game unfinished was 10, because it was never released here. Okay, and last game. This is a game that came out in Japan today. It's not yet available outside of Japan. Pixel Cross Adventures, which is a sequel to other Pixel puzzle games. It's been Pixel as Piczle. They've had several other games in the franchise, and it's kind of tells this long-running story from game to game. In fact, this one starts out with, previously in the Pixel Cross universe, and kind of summarize what happened in the last 2 or 3 games. But this is basically, you run around in the world map finding these pixelated black and white objects that you go and solve the puzzle and to fix them again. And there's a story plot of why that's happening. I'll leave that alone for now. But it looks like there's about 300 puzzles. The game cost me 1,000 yen, which is just under $10. So definitely a lot of content for the money. So far, I assumed the game would have just detected my English settings from the operating system, but no, it still put me into Japanese mode, and I had to find the language. It does have English support, but I had to find it in the menus. And even when it is turned into English, it's not a proper localization. There is it's like Google translated text, I think. So I think that's the reason why it's not out anywhere else yet, because it needs a proper localization.
Have the other versions come out for the US or in English?
other versions of
Or the
what?
US eShop? You said it was a continuing story, so I'm
Oh
assuming
yeah,
there's other.
previous Pixel Cross games or
Okay.
Pixel Universe games are in English. That's how I've played them. This is the first one I've
Right.
played.
Well, I actually meant, did it get released North America
Yeah.
wise?
Yeah,
Okay.
the other games are on the North American eShop.
Okay.
So
Gotcha.
this one will be coming. It's just
Did
still
you
needs
do
work.
videos on these before, or any of them?
I
Any
don't.
reviews or talking about it?
Definitely talked about them, in
I
previous
mean,
shows.
separate videos. I know you
Over.
talked about it here, but
I
did
don't
you
think I
do
made
any
any.
previous?
I don't think
Okay.
I made any previous YouTube videos, but
Will you be making one for this one?
I did. I did an hour stream, so that's on
Oh,
YouTube
okay.
now. Before we
Gotcha.
recorded,
Okay.
and the the game also has some technical issues. It soft locked on me twice, and
Okay.
so hopefully they can patch that in. And there's an XP level system, which is kind of weird for what this game is. So it's basically locking off certain puzzles until you are a certain level, which means if you come across one, like one of them, you're forced to come across because like you do the first two or three puzzles. The professor guy's in the way, so you can't get to the last one. So the next puzzle you have access to is you must be level 2, and you can't do it yet. So then he moves, so you can go into his lab to solve the puzzle in there. Then you level to 2, and then you can do do that one. But it's so far it starts you off with 5x5s. Most of them are 10x10s. I've done a few 15x15s already, so then there is a story path that the game wants you to do. You don't have to do it right away. There are plenty of puzzles to choose from if you wander the map and explore a bit. There are certain paths that will be locked off until you get to a certain point in the story. So I don't know if it's kind of Metroidvania-ish, which is weird for a Picross game. But Picross games have been getting weird lately. But
That's
so
cool.
far I'm having fun.
That's good.
So that's all for you. I've been playing Final Fantasy VII, the original, not the remake, on the Switch. Made it to the Junon area, and probably will stop there and play remake instead, and then come back to this once I finish remake. Like the majority of us, too, I've been playing Animal Crossing. I finished planting all of the original fruits this week, and I built a campsite. So that means that I'm going to roll credits here soon once I get all that complete and get that taken care of. And then I've also been just finding myself drawn back to One Finger Death Punch 2. It's just a really fun, simple, turn my brain off and play game. And that's been good to have during this time. So that's what I've been playing. Let's turn on the community spotlight.
Do it.
All right, so only one question from the community this week. I love this question, though. And we'll go around the horn here real quick, 30 seconds each on this. As seen on Nintendo Voice Chat last week, show and tell one item in your podcasting area that you would like to share and talk about with the community.
See, I wish I would have sounded this before we recorded so I can think about it.
There's also a question there from Mecha Dragon in the email as well. I have one very quickly. This is my studio, has some stuff in it, not my main room because my other room. I will show this. Oh, I can't see that. This is a mini Mario versus Rabbids figure. The reason that this, and you're like, well, it seems pretty pointless. I got this when I went to EGX the very first time, and this was the same year that this game was released, and they had this massive Donkey Kong, the white gorilla. I gotta have a picture with it. Like they used it at E3 as well, where they're like holding you. And I had my picture taken with it, and I was like running towards the Nintendo booth, but then I saw this thing and I like stopped and like slid in my tracks, and then I like ran back because we were press, nobody was there yet, and I was like, "Can I have my photo taken with that thing?" And the lady's like, "Sure." And I was like, cool. Here you go. Here's my phone. I was like, ah, photo taken. And then I ran out. But it was really cool.
Awesome. Tim, I saw you up grabbing something. What do you got?
I know not our listeners can see this, but this is an ocarina that I got from
Nice.
my oldest for Christmas, and I love it. It's blue, dark blue, and a gold, and it actually works. I can't play a darn thing on it, but it actually works. But
Nice.
I love it.
Awesome. I'm just going to put up some pictures on my Twitter because my podcast room is also my office that I work from. And y'all, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 shelves of Legos in here. No, 11, 12 shelves of Legos, so a shelf of Transformers, and 3 shelves worth of Amiibo and Nintendo memorabilia. I'll just put that on there. But what I'm most proud about in my podcast studio right now is the rare and elusive
And
hand
sanitizer.
And sanitizer.
Nice.
Yes.
This is my buddy.
Oh, I didn't even see this. I should have shown this.
There it is. Ooh, love that cover plate. If you're not watching the stream, Tim's showing off cover plates for the new 3DS
Forgot about
KK
that.
slider
Mhm.
base plates.
Yes.
But no, I guess right here at my desk that's accessible right now, I have these coasters that I have on my desk that are old Nintendo carts.
Those are cool.
So I've got, like Metroid.
There you go.
Super
I got
Mario
one.
2,
Hey.
Mario 3, Donkey
Nice.
Kong. Yeah, I love these guys. They're
Yeah.
great. Justin and I are Twinkies.
I know, right? I got 3. I have this one, or Super Mario 2, Mario 3, and I have Metroid. Got
My set came with 8.
I
Nice.
got
Get
y'all
these on
beat.
Amazon.
I got y'all beat because I showed this before, but
Oh, look at that.
From
Look
that
at
kid. 2016 is when I had got this. So
Yeah.
Wow. Jesse,
that's by the way, for those who
you got
can't see,
anything?
that's the autographed Nintendo Dad's picture that they sent me when I became a Patreon.
Yeah, I'm looking around. I've got a lot of old GBAs and Game Boy and 3DS carts lying around my desk, but this one kind of jumped out at me to show. It's Ho-Oh model that I got when Heart Gold Soul Silver was released on the DS.
Yes.
I think that's when I got it.
That's cool.
I don't really have anything really cool around here that isn't hanging on a wall and that I could grab. So, when I'm working, we use we've been using Teams and WebEx for our meetings. So my work computer is on a different wall than my work podcasting computer, but still in the same chair, just swiveled 90 degrees. So with the laptop camera was looking at my network rack here. So someone saw that and asked about it. They're like, "What is that blue thing?" I'm like, "Oh, that's my network rack," which is my house has 54 Ethernet ports. So I'm wired than most small businesses in this house.
Can you come over and do mine?
I didn't do it. My brother-in-law did.
Okay.
I bought the hardware, and he and his crew installed it.
Nice. Yep.
Awesome.
That'd be cool.
Well, if you want to see the pictures of my office, you can follow me on Twitter if you don't already, at Marty Estes. It'll be my quarantine project in the next couple of days. Probably won't post it tomorrow because I'm trying to not come to my office tomorrow since it's my day off. I spend a lot of time here right now. And
Good idea.
I am not going to come to this office tomorrow if I don't have to. Over on our email, MechaDragon101 sent us this question. We're going to round out the show with this one. It says, I hope you aren't getting tired of my podcast question emails yet. My question for you guys this week is, do any of you guys still collect video games, or did you used to before? Do you have any good advice for collecting video games and storing them in your room or anywhere? I hope the question makes sense. I'm looking forward checking out the podcast tonight. I know Zach at one time, when he was still a regular on the show, had a bin of Game Boy games and
Mm.
systems,
Yeah.
but I don't know anything else. I don't personally collect video games. Any of you guys have a collection?
I don't I want to, but I don't want to. So I'm afraid of like going down that rabbit hole. Do you know what I mean? I saw a friend recently, he's like, "Oh, I got, busted the old Game Boy." And I was like, "Man, I wish I had my old Game Boy." And then I was like, "Man, if I did that, then I would get X, like start listing off all the games." And then I'm like, "No, I need to not do that. Like I need to I've got all those games somewhere else, something like I'm just no. No, I don't collect any games or game. Yeah, no.
For a while, I was like collecting in television carts and stuff. Never got. I know there are people out there who are trying to collect a full collection. Either just a loose cart or full in box. Most of mine is just loose cart. I probably have 30 or 40 carts. And,
Yeah.
in
There's
the mess behind me. But PS3 and Wii era, there was no digital purchasing yet. So yeah, we had a bookcase full of cases with discs that may or may not be in the right box.
Yeah.
And that was always a pain to rearrange and fix. But pretty much ever since Wii U and 3DS era, I've been 99% digital and really not caring to collect anymore.
As opposed to like collecting like game cartridges, I'm more interested in like picking up ones that are meaningful to me, but are like in box, sealed with instruction manuals. Do you know what I mean? Like if I could find an old like 1994 Donkey Kong Country still in the box from the Super Nintendo, all of that, like that's what I want to pick up. Do you know what I mean? As opposed to like, oh, pick up Contra 12, like 2, and you're like, no, I don't want to do that. I want to pick up the ones like that have significant meaning to me, or that I believe are like if you could find an inbox Chrono Cross, like, right, man, or Link's Awakening, not Link's Awakening, Link to the Past, like some of that stuff of like
Stadium
just
events?
sorry,
Stadium events.
yeah, like some of that stuff is just, I think, if you can find it, that'd be awesome. So.
Yeah, I've
Yeah,
got
just
a Game Boy and a Game Boy Advance Micro
Mm-hmm.
that are on my shelf. Like I don't play them; they're there for decoration mainly, I guess, because I wanted those. I've always loved the original Game Boy, and I never had the Game Boy Micro up until like a year or so ago. So it's something I wanted.
Tim?
Yeah, I'm along those lines too, where I've kind of gotten away where I know I don't have the space or the money to go full blown collector. But like you were saying, Justin, I will buy, if I know I like the game or I've played it in the past, I will buy the collector's version of the game, especially physical, and have that like and some I take a chance on, obviously, like the bloodstained box set and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff with the fancy box and all that. I'm happy I got those. I know it's not the greatest game in the world, but I'm happy I got it because I'm a fan. Another one I have is the Axiom Verge. I can't find it at the moment. The Axiom Verge box set that came out for the Switch. I had that. I had the one for the Vita before that. Before I sold all that stuff off, but originally I was going to keep the Vita, and I actually regret selling that, but I had to sell it off to get the Switch.
Yeah.
But there's some things that I learned from all those experiences, because from collecting, then selling it off to when I had a family, and then coming back to it. The games and the systems that I like the most, like 3DS or the DS family through the 3DS, I went back and collected a lot of games like Chrono Trigger, like I showed before. I went and bought that again because I had it and I love it. And just those games that I really like, I want to have, they're all stored properly, taking the batteries out of the systems if nobody's playing them, putting them away. In fact, I had the new 3DS one with the faceplate put away until my daughter, because that was hers. So she wanted it back
Mm,
because she's been bored and she wanted to play some of those old games again. So, and then I bought, the 3DS because to me this is like the Metroid one. This is my go-to for going back to all the previous games I could get on here, even some of the virtual console stuff that I can go back to that. So
yeah, I think I think it's interesting. Like the more like in some ways the question is like the more and more like we have like things are so much going digitally, right? Back when we were growing up, digital wasn't a choice. You had cartridges, right? It had to be, right? But then like now you think of the more and more options that are just pure digital. Like you don't, if you're a collector, right? That's your jam, right? So if you think like fast forward 25 years and someone's like, man, I'm trying to do the Switch collection, and you're like, ugh. So like, is Fortnite digital or is it physical? Do you know what I mean? Overwatch. Well, there was no Overwatch. There was only code, right? Like, so.
That's the hairy part, right? Whereas we got all these, even with some of these physical editions, you still have to download something to make it even playable in some cases.
Yeah.
Or like they just sold a box and no card exists.
That's the frustrating part because one of the things I learned from the Vita is I realized I should have bought a lot of those physical games so that I could go back and play them, so that when they shut down the shop, I could go back and play those games.
Yeah.
And some of the things that I've learned over here with the digital with Nintendo is if you had the physical version, you could go back and play it. But unfortunately, more and more, even if you have the physical edition, there's patches, upgrades, and all that stuff that make it more playable that you don't get if it's not fixed on the card itself.
Yeah. Like, what is it? I think it's Borderlands. They made the statement that the Borderlands collection is 35 gig download after you get the cartridge.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right. It's something ridiculous. Outer Wilds or Outer Worlds apparently
one game on
6.5
gig,
the
other 2 download or something.
I think it actually is, Jesse. I actually think that is exactly what it is.
Outer Worlds is what I liked about originally them going to bring it on the physical. They were going to put it all in that one card. So,
but there's still a patch.
Yeah, but there's still that patch. Yep.
Still selling 6.5 gigs.
And I always worry about these games that I want to play. It's awesome to have it digitally. Animal Crossing, like we said, we have it digitally. But when it comes time later on, when it's much older and you want to go back to it, are you going to be able to?
Yeah.
So, yeah. But that's where my mindset is, and that's why I've kind of gotten away from collecting. It's like, it's fun to look at it in the box. But then, I guess as I get older, I'm trying to figure out, does it make sense?
Data miners will find a way to archive
Yeah,
that.
absolutely. Well, guys, that is episode 275 of Nintendo Dads. We want to thank you for hanging out with us tonight. And as we close out the show, we always want to say a huge thanks to our Patreon producers. That's Chris Mears, Dave Ernsberger, Sean Abbott, and Antonio Curtronio, as well as the rest of you who have jumped into the Patreon producer role during this time where everything's free. That's right. Right now, you can head over to patreon.com/Nintendo Dads and jump into a trial, a demo, if you will, of the Nintendo Dads Patreon services for absolutely free. And you can leave at the end with no obligation as well. You can also head over to the website, nintendodads.org, see all of our videos, tweets, podcast episodes, social media, link to our Patreon, as well as the Nintendo Dads merch page. And that's how you can support us during that time or during this time as well. Type us in on your favorite social media of choice. Just type in Nintendo Dads and we will pop up. Also, you can email us at nintendodads@gmail.com or send us a voicemail at 929-25-NDADS. That's 929-256-3237. And we want to say a big thanks to OC Remix for the music that we've used throughout the show. And you know what would be swell? What would be great? Just great, don't you know? Go over there to your favorite podcast app of choice. Leave us a 5-star review and a written review. We've got some brand new written reviews over the last few weeks. Your words help other people find us. And so not only word of mouth helps, but writing those reviews pushes us up the charts so people can find out more about all the good things happening over here at Nintendo Dads. So for me, for Tim, for Justin, and Jesse, this has been episode 275. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening into Nintendo Dads.
We sound like the goddamn Nintendo dads all